Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It is time for the first round of 16 match here at Dreamhack Summer 2011. I'm Day 9.
And I am D Apollo.
And I've lied to you. I said we were coming up with Braddock versus Naniwa, but no, that match is scheduled to happen at the exact same time as Idra versus MC, and I figured that I wanted to do the match that I wanted to cast. So we're going to be doing Idra versus MC after this. That will happen at 22 o'clock, 10 p.m. CET. But coming up first, what match do we have from Apollo?
In the game, we have MYM Sase versus Fnatic MSI Sen.
Sase, the Swede, undefeated in his group stage, 10-1 in his matches, only losing one game, crushing the opposition throughout. Has been one of the most impressive players in this tournament, and Sen, though we saw him lose to MC earlier today, crushed the remainder of the competition, 2-0ing everyone, actually losing no other games. So the question is Sase's PvZ as good as MC? Will Sen have fixed the mistakes he made against MC?
I don't know. That's a tough question. And hopefully, Sen's reviewed the games and the reasons why he lost versus MC and can hopefully come back and show us a pretty sick ZVP. I think that the first game, I mean, I'm looking back. All right, you're playing in the tournament. Your first game is against MC. All right, that's a pretty rough run. So now he's had some time. He's played the other games, and I can hear a ticking noise.
Well, that's because we're going directly into game one. The countdown has begun. The players are ready. The first map is going to be Metalopolis. An excellent map. We got to see some epic fights on it, and here we are. The game has begun. And it looks like in the north position, the Swedish Protoss player, MYM Sase, undefeated. If you would like him to take this series, cheer for Sase!
Wow.
But Sen in the right corner, one of the 5 Zergs advancing here to the round of 16. If you would like him to win, give a cheer for Fnatic MSI Sen!
So a few guys that kind of did miss the early group stages. We talked a little bit about Sase and how he is such a crazy player. He's played so many games on the ladder, more than Cass. And Cass was renowned for playing the most ladder games out of anybody. Sase topped that. And like I told you before, he used to be a pro gamer for Warcraft 3 in China and spent a long time in China and has a very strict training regime because of that. And that is really showing in StarCraft 2. He plays all the time. He refines his builds after every simple mistake or loss that he makes on the ladder or in training games. And that is really showing because the first time he comes into a large StarCraft 2 event, what did he do? He goes 5-0 in the groups.
And I mean, this is something that you have talked about multiple times at this Dreamhack D Apollo, the training regimen. The Koreans, people reputed them to be far ahead of everyone at the start of StarCraft 2, but we saw that was not the case at the outset, that everyone was on equal footing because it was a new game, but slowly the Koreans are starting to pull ahead because of that practice regimen, but not MYM Sase. He will not be taken left behind. He will easily be practicing as hard as he can to be able to come back in. It looks like that first probe harassing MYM Sase, showcasing that 200 actions per minute, and will be blocking that hatch with a pylon.
Very nice there. That was like around 13 spawning pool, if I can kind of judge where it is now. 13 spawning pool, and Sen would have liked to gone for that expansion around 15, around 16, but unfortunately, pylon block has happened, and now he's just he has to get to Queen and 4 Lings, as you can see in the production tab now, and then we'll start to work away and finally get that hatchery around 22, 23. Meanwhile, Ascent does have an Overlord, sees the Cybernetics core, sees the gateway, sees the 1 gas, and is going to retreat, checking the double gas. That's very useful, and the use of that Overlord extremely vital here as he's going to go ahead and evacuate that base there.
I mean, seeing that gas guys are available is going to be pretty big. And wow, another Cybernetics core. He is not constructing that because he wants to get hallucination research at the same time down here. He's building that to block that for even longer, and it looks like he will have to throw down a cancel. Can he get another structure? And he does!
Oh, Sase really delaying that. And he's going to finally cancel it just as it gets down to that 10 HP and delay it up to 24. And very nice opener so far by Sase. And if we're looking over here, a second gas has not been made yet. Look at this, Sean, and the Overlord does see it. Is going to go and double check. Very nice scouting here by Sen. Does see the second gas has not gone down yet.
Sase needs to be careful not to get surrounded. Will he be able to pull it off? Yes, he does, and he's going to continue to maintain that aggression. We see an expansion coming down by Sase. And, you know, speaking of practice, notice how this pylon is perfectly planted to barely allow a cybernetics core, barely allow a gateway. How many times have you built a pylon and prevented yourself from being able to wall on your own front and lost the game easily? I did that regularly at the start of StarCraft 2, but Sase very boldly planting that absolutely perfectly. Again, a big sign that he is playing a lot and knows clearly how to place those structures.
Very smart by Sase to actually go ahead and get that fast expand, knowing that his opponent went for the hatchery first. He's not going to have speed, cannot put any aggression on, and also using these stalkers, can snipe any outer position overlords, can put pressure back onto Sen here, and he's going to go ahead and add the second and third gateway, and he has added on the second cast inside his main. Not quite mining from it, but we do have a little skirmish from both players. Two stalkers moving inside, and also a counter-attack at the same time.
Looks like a couple of Zerglings moving on in, and Sase needs to throw down some sort of force field, and no, it looks like he will not be able to get it down. In the meantime, we do see these Stalkers are in a full-out retreat. Sen making great use of just slow lings. Will he be able to pop in time? And it looks like there. Oh, can he get a force field up? He is working his way in, trying to block this as well. Will he lose a second sentry? Oh, no, and it looks like he keeps the sentry alive.
Great play there by Sen, and two Stalkers blocking the rest of the lings from coming in as well. Unfortunately, did lose one or two probes there, but he did get the command center up that much earlier that he's going to get the Chrono Boost and have 2 times the amount of probes made as usual. So I think that was a fair trade and very nice opener. Now speed is done. There has to be a lot more careful with those units. At the same time, Sen goes ahead and puts down that third base.
So, I mean, despite that remarkably good control by MYM Sase, I mean, Sase is not really doing much at this point in time. He just has 2 gateways. Going to have a reasonable follow-through on this. And, you know, it's almost an optical illusion what's happening right now. Ordinarily, after an expansion, you'd see the Protoss having 3 gateways, a Forge, maybe even getting a Robo. But keep in mind, this Nexus was extremely early. So that is making it look like Sase is behind when he is actually not. Look at this beautiful placement. Walling himself in almost completely.
Yeah, that's a complete, well, aside from where the sentries and stalkers, that is a wall-off. Very nice placement of that pylon there. Going to prevent a lot later on counter-attacks by Lings, as he can warp in just 1 Zealot to block the rest of that off. And now Sen is scouting with that Ling, does see the +1 attack has been made. And if you look at the food count, already a 10 lead, and the drone count, 46 drones versus 32 probes already. And an Overseer just about to pop to go in and scout what exactly is going on inside Sase's base.
Sen very smartly getting that ultra-fast layer, going to be making such great use of that Overseer, and this is a smart play that I don't think enough Zergs do. Just marching in with an Overseer allows you to know exactly what is in the Protoss base. At this point in time, we see not that many units can shoot up, so it means Sen is going to get complete vision. He sees 1 gateway in the main and nothing else. All the other structures are at the front, so pretty much all the units and structures revealed for Sase right now, essentially playing as almost though he's given vision to Sen.
And it looks like Sase is going to move out, force some pressure now, bring in a probe so he can build a forward pylon to continue with the reinforcements of these units.
Wow.
But obviously Sen knew and saw exactly what is going on in the production tab. We have 6 roaches and already 5 out, but not that many with some key force fields. Look at the place of that pylon. He could, well, I don't know. Is he going to try and walk into the base? I don't know.
Well, it looks like he's trying to prevent as few Lings from hitting it from below, but neglects the fact that roaches can hit it from above, and Sase with the insta-cancel. That's actually one of the fastest cancels I've ever seen. I mean, the acid had only just barely spilled over the edge before he was like, nope, 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 not doing it. Cancels it immediately. We see now a Spore Crawler going down from Sen. It looks like Sen being a little bit overly precautious with that Spore Crawler, perhaps. Either way, he is more than secure against a variety of openings. Either way, Sase is moving around with these gateway units, trying to get in position, and a late hallucination coming in now.
And Twilight Cancel a little bit off-timed here. Usually want to have it just as the +1 attack finishes so you can continue with that +2. And it's going to be a little bit slowed down, but nevertheless will get out anyway. And also Robotics Facility finally been added on so you can get that Observer out, go inside the base, see what is going on. Because he hasn't really seen inside Sen's base. What does he have? And he needs to get that information. And he can also use that Observer to put pressure back on via these creep tumors, sniping them off slowly. And look at this, Sen is now moving out with a few 3 roaches on the right hand side, but they is going to meet up with all the other ones on the left, and they're going to definitely be trying to force a cancel on this third base.
I mean, Sen has done this exact style time and time again on this map. He is going to stop around 70 roaches and, or excuse me, 70 drones and just mass up roaches and send them at the left position, and then right when Sase arrives, possibly defend. Sen immediately does an attack up the center alleyway. We see those changelings making their way forward. Sen trying to do a little bit of harassment, and look at this, 162 food to 87.
Wow, that's such a big difference that early in the game. And Sase did send in a hallucinated Phoenix, got a lot of information, saw that he was still on layer, saw that he only had a Roach Warren, saw that he had a double Evo chamber, and knows that he's going to be very, very Roach heavy. And I wouldn't be surprised if he started adding in Immortals to help combat this. But look at this, Sen moving around to the front.
But Blink is literally about to finish, and there it is. It is done now. A couple of force fields could ruin this entire attack. Oh no, he does not kill the Forge. There it does go down. Force fields coming up from Sase, but will they be enough? Roaches can still spill through from this backside. Now it looks like some defensive force fields going up, but Sen brilliantly target firing, and a burrow. Does have an observer, but the healing rate of the Roach is a little too strong. More Stalkers getting morphed in. Sase in a very, very rough spot. The 5-0 player in his group, 10-1, only shirking a single match, is in a terrible spot. May lose the first game of this best-of-3. Sen streaming in more Roaches from below. It's going to have to take incredible Blink Stalker Micro for Sase to stay alive at this point, and he only has 2 gateways off power. Only has these 2 on, it appears.
But look at the reinforcements, Sean. Just a stream of roaches coming up from all these hatcheries, and Sen is in a bad position here. I mean, Sase is in a bad position here.
Sen now hitting max food with only roaches in the unit counting station. We see 45 roaches for Sen.
Wow.
Sase gets an Immortal up. It shoots twice before popping. And there's the good game. Ooh. Sen wins game 1. But keep in mind that this is honestly Sen's best 1v1 map for Zerg vs. Protoss. Big shout out to everyone who came out today. In the crowd, we see the waves erupting. Everyone's so delighted.
And Sase just wants to take a few minutes break. He said, just give me 5 minutes. So give him 5 minutes. But let's look at that game. Early on, Sase opened up with a 1-gate expo with double stalker pressure. But Sen reacted very nicely in that. And did launch a counterattack, got a few probe kills. The biggest point was, after those probe kills, Sase could not harass in any form, could not be offensive. And Sen, what did he do? Go up to 70 drones and get to that key drone markers we talked about, and as you mentioned in the game. And from there, what did he do? Only roaches.
Yeah, and you know what, Eric? If we could actually just switch into the view of the game, that would allow us to just take a look at this match while Sase is taking the break. We do see that Sase, again, building that 1 gateway at the top of his ramp. And, you know, you see players like Huck doing a very fast 3-gateway expand, but Sase going for the 1-gate expand, something that, you know, OGS MC has done with a lot of success. And I actually think that this was probably an overall net gain for Sase. Might have been close, but because he did manage to successfully cancel, actually, I just want to double check. I'm pretty sure he successfully canceled this second. Whoops, wrong button. All right, cool. Now I want to slow this down. Did he successfully cancel it? I'm pretty certain that he did. It looks like we are going to see that there's that swell up of minerals. I mean, that could have been a potential blunder. Yeah, no, he got it down just perfectly.
Yeah.
And then the second one went up, and yeah, he was able to once again cancel that. We see those minerals correspondingly increasing. So
what was really smart here by Sen was the use of that overload to double check for that second gas consistently. You know, turned around here, checked it, and knew exactly what was going on, and then backed out once again and identified what Sase was trying to do. And very smart, building Zerglings at the key time.
And, you know, this type of harassment, the double stalker harass, this is really, really intimidating for, I would say, the less experienced Zerg players who always think, oh, I don't have speed, I can't deal with the stalkers. But Sen, more than comfortable, still knows that these Zerglings are slightly faster, are going to be able to catch up. That does mean that he still can put some pressure on and smartly trying to pull those stalkers to the left instead of down. And Sase actually getting a Forge up early, and I think that this was an incredibly key moment for Sen when he walked up here and saw just a Forge and a gateway Generally at this time, I mean, it's before the 6-minute mark. At 6 minutes and 30 seconds, that's generally when a 3-gateway expand would be building its nexus. Sometimes it can be closer to 6 minutes and 15 if the player is really crisp. So given this timing, Sen is likely just going to think, yeah, he only has 2 gateways. And this suddenly meant that Sen was going to be able to build drones for an incredibly long time. And this, a key kill that immediately pins Sase on the back foot. And that sentry energy is so essential.
Yeah.
For being able to, do aggression and do defense.
You can look at the food count already, 25 versus 40. And that's the problem with trying to go for these fast expands or 2-gate expos. A good Zerg player will identify what is going on and be like, all right, that's not cool of you. You're trying to get that early, you're trying to cut corners. And you can see 7 probes killed.
Yeah, and I mean,
that's a lot.
7 workers, might not seem like a lot, but if you think that he has 18 workers total, I mean, that's basically 25% of his whole workforce is actually not working because they're dead, Diapollo. That's definitely hard to come back from. And especially when this cannon went down, for a Zerg player who's focusing a lot on making drones, sometimes a spine crawler seems like a reasonable choice because it's 1 larva. It doesn't really eat into your production to make 1 spine crawler, but 1 cannon, this is a gateway that could have been planted down for Sase.
Yeah.
So upon seeing this really fast forge, killing off some probes, and this really fast photon cannon, I mean, look at the production that's going to be coming out from Sen. I mean, if we just take a look at Sen's base, we see a Roachborn coming up early, but direct your eyes to this production tab, still making just drones. Still making just drones, actually just going to the Sen cam. I mean, only drones. Now he's making a couple of roaches, and when does he start making them? Well, he's at 46. I'm curious to see how many he will end up making before he goes back to powering hard. Powering, again, the term we refer to of setting yourself up for the later stages of the game instead of making units right now. Look at it, just kind of getting a couple of roaches in there every now and again. But at this point in the game, he has 8 roaches and 58 drones. He's skimping on roaches as much as he can. And there he is with the huge swell of roaches. Again, does not have that many drones. But once he ends up with a big number, then he starts to go back to produce. And this is actually a very weird timing for a lot of players. I did say that he loves to get up to that 71 drone count in the game. But what's interesting about Sen's play is he builds this huge roach army first. And that was something that Sase was really not prepared for. Look, as the roaches are moving out, we see that drone count climb all the way up to 71. And as this attack moves up, I mean, Sase is really caught off guard by this.
Yeah.
He loses this 1 pylon, 1 stalker gets taken out. Suddenly Sase is realizing that he can't really put any pressure on. And I mean, throughout this, even though what Sen did is very simple, Sen is now doubling his opponent's food nearly, 166 to 93. And then Sen carefully just goes back and forth until he can get some point of vulnerability. But in this game, that point of vulnerability cropped up in his second swing around due to those, again, 7 early workers killed. I mean, we see in the income even at this little freeze frame, always quite far ahead. That's majority blue side. Sen just cleaning up very, very easily.
And I think that Sen reacted extremely well to that pressure. When he first pushed out with a few sentries and a few stalkers, is a lot of Zerg players will then go from here, build units, and then go back to drones. What Sen took advantage of was like, all right, I build a bunch of units, I'm going to build more. And then push back himself.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Sase was kind of caught in like, wait a minute, you're not meant to have units, you're meant to have drones again. And then was caught by surprise before that 3rd base could get up, before it was stabilized, before he could wall off, and so on. And it looks like Sase is ready.
Excellent.
And is going to begin to make the game. We'll have to see what map he will choose. Just wanted to take a few minutes break to kind of sit back. And he wasn't really playing the same solid players we saw in the group stages.
Yeah,
He just wanted.
not.
I mean, this is a best of 3, so 1 game away could knock him out now, and obviously that's not what he wants. So the next map is going to be on Terminus.
Ooh, a big long-term macro-oriented map. But keep in mind, there's this trap that a lot of Zergs fall into where all they're thinking is, how long can I build drones? And then when do I stop and only make units? So for a long time, Zergs basically were building drones, and then They would either lose with no units and 100 drones,
Yeah.
or they'd have an overwhelming army and a really easy finish. But we're seeing Sen do a brilliant set of switch-arounds. He is regularly building a ton of units early, throwing in some extra Zerglings, and this is really what's helping those tip-top Zergs begin to get more wins on there, because players like Sase will be underprepared. They're too used to these players who overvalue drones early on.